Good morning, everyone. I've got a new goal for my topic is just to do better than I did in introduction since I failed you, Sam. What I want to do in summary is talk about when to maybe not chase every dollar. That sounds pretty foreign, but if you can listen to your customers and kind of focus more on the value you're giving them and the ROI you're providing, I believe the dollars will come. So we'll get to that. But before we get to that, a little bit about me. So yeah, I started working at CES for Sam almost 40 years ago. Worked, at that time there was 2 CESs. There was a winter and a summer, so we had no breaks to do anything, but it was an amazing time. You get a lot of knowledge on how to just do different things. Met some fabulous people on the supplier side and great networks at NACS. Not during NACS time, but a couple years after that, I actually married somebody from NACS, so it was a good time. From there, I took maybe a lateral move. I went over to PCIA, much smaller pond, but I got to be a bigger fish. And I learned how to get some confidence. Believe it or not, when your first job is 11 years and you don't know if you can do it anywhere else, it was more of a risk than it seems like to go to PCIA, but I did, and I gained a lot of connections, but more importantly, confidence. One of my connections, though, had a friend whose wife worked at this place called Core Express, and it was an up-and-coming .com, had a lot of venture capital. I had stock, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be fabulous. Big risk, though, because I probably lied my way there and became event marketing, and that was a little stretch. I'd never done that before, but I got to pick the venues and pick where we were going to go and work with a contractor on a booth space. I had to figure out how to get people in our booth, little tchotchkes to give away during the show, how to collect leads, and more importantly, how to respond to those leads and follow up. And we did not do a good job because 2 years later, we burned through all of our cash and had 0 sales and our doors shut. But then, a good story was I never even heard of NACS. In fact, back then the website was called cstorecentral.com, and I was going on an interview and I couldn't even find it. But what a great place. I'm very passionate about the convenience retailing industry, and there's a couple reasons why. And I'm not selling anybody NACS, but my mission and the way I look at convenience stores now is convenience stores are a safe haven. When you're out on the road and you have car trouble, or you're being followed, or it's just suspect, you can go into a well-lidded store, you got trained people, and it's just a safe place to go when you're on the road. The other one is it's an awesome place for our first responders, a nurse, a police officer, when they're getting off at 2 or 3 in the morning and they forgot that they don't have milk at home to be able to get that product because we're open 24/7 to get breakfast for their kid the next morning. But probably my biggest excitement about the industry, I am selling NACS, but whatever, is we are a food oasis for many underserved. You go into rural areas and they don't have big box groceries, so we are their grocery store. And I just love the industry for those 3 values. A little bit about NACS, our engine. We're a small but mighty group. We have 80 full-time employees. I have about 10 full-time dedicated people to execute the NACS show. I don't, maybe 25% or less of my time is doing it, but I have really the best in class people that execute a show. The NACS show's annual revenue is 67% of our full revenue, and it's in Q4. That is pressure like you wouldn't believe. I mean, if I got paid and 67% of my revenue, my annual fee came in Q4, I probably wouldn't spend normal throughout the year, but we do. We have a lot of lobbying and stuff to do, so we spend money, and fortunately, not do we only hit, but we exceed our goals every year, so it's a good story to have. We have about 1,200 exhibiting companies. We represent 450,000 net square feet. And I wanted to show the rotation, and that's really to be in the terms of our members. So we go to Vegas, we go to Chicago, and we go to Atlanta, and it would probably be simpler for us to pick one and stay there. But we go to Atlanta because most of our big members are in the Southeast, and they can't get away from their store, so they come to Atlanta, so we go to Atlanta. Vegas, the same thing with the West Coast, and Chicago hits mid and could get both. But we like to believe that every person should come to the NACS show every year, and they should, but they don't. So we go to them. So part of the theme is value, right? It's easy to sell a product to one of your customers. What we try to do is listen to them and solve. So we're looking really to design a product not just for them, but for their customers. And when you do that, you are creating value, but you're also engagement, which is a big thing for us. You know, we're not interested so much in having people come to the NACS show 4 days and go away. And it drives us nuts, and I don't know if it's like in the room or not, but people say they're going to NACS, and NACS is in Alexandria, not in Vegas or Atlanta. It's a NACS show, and we want them to be fully engaged all year round. We want them to go to Day on the Hill. We want them to go to our research conferences. We want their engagement because we can't do it without them. This is something that I say in front of every customer every time I get with them. Not exactly this because I say NACS, but I say every dollar you spend at NACS, I want it to be as valuable or more valuable than any dollar you spend anywhere else. I get great feedback that that is the case, and it makes me happy. It only happened one time where it didn't, and probably the whole room the same thing. COVID, we delivered nothing, but our members stuck beside us and still funded us to do the right thing. Our industry was open, and we needed help, so they let us keep their membership and stuff like that. And it was nice to know that they'll pay to do the right thing. I don't want that to ever happen again. I want to continue to bring and drive value to them. So we have our first poll. And this is weird because I haven't talked about it, but I'm about to talk about it. But for the audience, have you ever recommended downsizing a spend by your customer? It could be booth, sponsorship, or whatever. Well, that's good to hear. It's really good to hear. What we believe, or what I believe, and at least I'm influential enough to have my team believe, is we really like to look long term. We want to sit down, explore the goals with them, and try to figure out where we can align strategically. I do have a case study that I wanted to share with you. I have a customer called Mondelez. You would know them, Chips Ahoy's and Orioles, just very fun products. And their key contact, Rick, I think he was on a panel here, I wasn't here for it, but probably 10 years ago. An amazing guy. We got to be buds, as he would call us. I got him to purchase a European Leaders of the Year award for our European Summit. And I was sitting at his table, and it was his time to go up there, and he had a tie, he looked great, he had like a little Oreo thing inside of his jacket, and he crushed it. He told a great story, talked about the retailer, handed him the award. The retailer seemed okay, but the energy wasn't there, and Rick sat down next to me, and I said, you know, I don't think you're getting any value being an American, even at Mondelez, handing an award to somebody from Europe, and I don't think he got any value of it either. And I think you should think about, if you're doing this a year from now, maybe you should not do it. A year passes, we never talked about it again, and I'm sitting at a table, we're in a different venue, but he's given that award again, and he goes up there and he crushes it. And he comes back to the table and he just looks at me, he goes, I know what you're gonna say. And he did. I didn't have to say it. He goes, we're not doing it. I tried, I listened, I went to my peers over in Europe and tried to convince them to give this award and the value it would give to the Retailer of the Year. And not only did they ignore it. They didn't even get it, and they didn't even come to this event. So that night I lost a bunch of money for NACS, and I'm glad nobody in earshot heard me say that, but I thought it was the right thing to do because the value just wasn't there. So then you fast forward, maybe a couple months later, I meet up with him, and he appreciated and thanked me for the suggestion, and he said it made him think. And he's like, I go to other events too, and I'm going, I'm not getting the value here and not getting the value there. So I canceled that stuff too, and now I have a big wad of money. And how would you suggest I spend it? We have an executive education programs. We affiliate with Cornell and MIT, but I had an opening on the MIT one. And I said, look, if I were you, I would at least research doing the endowment at MIT. It gives you great brand recognition. It shows that you are a category champion in this industry. You're giving back at a higher level into the industry. But the best thing is there are students in there that are gonna kind of owe you. They're not gonna owe you in a way that they're gonna give you money someday, but these are up and coming executives in our industry, and you made their dreams possible by spending this customized week-long program. And then they're going to be alumni, and you're going to get a whole new set the next year and the next year, and that base is going to grow 200-300 people if you just stick with it. It wasn't much of a hard sell. I mean, he bought it right then, and probably the good part of it is he spent probably 3 times as much with NACS on that than he did in the awards, and thankfully I was able to resell the sponsorship for the awards to somebody that could do it correctly. We have another poll question, and I'm going to get to this one, but I want to hear what you think. How many of y'all do space selection while your show's going on? It's a long 15 seconds, very long. Yes, okay. That's kind of what we were expecting. So it's a pretty high number. I guess you can guess that NACS does not. Oh, wait a minute, I went too far. NACS does not. I don't like it. It's not for us. I think it is good for some people. It's good to have the sale while they're passionate about the show they're attending, but I look at it as I want to improve the show every year. I walk the show, I feel the show, I talk to people at the show, and I see where I need to make adjustments. We have 5 segments of our show. I might have technology in the front of the hall, but food service suffered. So the next year I want to shift the categories. It's defendable, and it makes it just a better experience. We also take a look at our surveys, and we want to hear how the retailer shops the show so we can get better. So those are valid, kind of nice things to be able to do. But the one thing that not the one, because I'm going to say 2 things. The 2 things that I get out of it the most is the show's in October, and I would bet we would not talk to our best customers until January. So we do space selection 2 months after the show. It gives us an awesome touch point. It's very competitive. It's exciting. And they're 25 minutes, and some take a half an hour, and some take 5. But when they take 5, we get a lot of opportunities to talk about how their business is doing, what they do for Thanksgiving, what do they have planned for the new year. It's just an awesome touch point. The other very intended consequence is I don't want to be a distraction to them on site. They spend so much money to be there, to be with their customers, and why am I gonna think that I'm more important than their customers and tell them to come to this designated area and pick a booth under pressure? So I don't wanna be a distraction. And then I've learned that when we're not in an office selling booth space, we're on the show floor and we're talking to our best customers. And I think that's how you can really get a feel for what you're doing. I've been at NACS since 2002. In my first NACS show, I didn't know any better, so I just went on the show floor with a colleague, and the first booth I walked into, I identified myself, and the woman literally gave me the hand and said, "I'll be right back," and I'm like, what the heck? And she came back not only with her boss, but her boss's boss, and they came out pretty high up. You know, what's wrong? What do we do wrong? What's happening? What's going on? And I said, there's nothing happening. I'm just new. I want to know you. I want to see your booth. I want to have a connection. I want to see what your products are. And that guy looked at me and he said, you know, we've been exhibiting at NACS for 15 years and nobody's ever visited us in our booth. And I said, that's going to change. And it does. We are on the floor all the time. And I love that we are able to do that and check in with our customers. This is a little snapshot of our room. We do lock ourselves away, but not with customers in the building. Because again, the NACS show is just a venue to meet with your customers. Why be in a room? So we're in this room for 2 weeks. We get free lunches, which is enough to make them happy, but wonderful conversations on booth space. And then you go, well, what made you do that, or how can you do that? So, you know, that would not go over and where we are. I was talking to somebody last night about that, and they're like, that would never work. And it might not, but we had something happen that forced us to do it. In 2005, Katrina, we were going to be in New Orleans, and we weren't. And we could maybe claim insurance and miss a NACS show, but we don't think that we ever want to do that. We always want to provide this product to this community that needs it. So we did it, and we moved it in 3 months, and how we did it was the way we do it today. We had set up calls. You went from New Orleans that, I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's like a mile long and very narrow, to 2 nice rectangular halls in Vegas, and there's a lot of competition where you don't wanna be, so you had to have the conversations. So the conversations were good for that, but better in that we exuded excitement and confidence. They knew they were going to pull it off. And if we didn't do that, I don't know if I was an exhibitor, if I'd want to do it either, but hearing us talk about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it was just as important as anything else. And we're just never going to look back. That's been such a value to us that I wouldn't trade it for the world. We also look to sell the right product to the exhibitor. We're not selling cement. I've heard that, I hate that term, and I don't think any of us sell cement, but we actually have mystery shopping at our show. We take pictures of all the booths. A real strategy that I've heard multiple times is, I want to be by the Coke booth. Do you really? I mean, Coke has a 80-foot long wall that's 20 foot high that has their branding on it, and people cannot see you coming around the corner. You are so impaired, and maybe you think about that. You might want to be a Monster, and Monster is notorious for having a lot of sound. So we're talking to them about that. We're talking to them about how the show is going to go, where people are going to come from, where they're going to be walking. In a lot of cases, we're changing the way that they would have set the entrance of their booth. In these calls, they have like 4 people. They have the trade show contact, our key contact, and a lot of times they have their design house. So there's no surprises when they get to the show. And yes, I had a lot of people just come up to you and go, so you have a wait list? I guess that's out. We do. We have a wait list. We average over 200 companies a year. It's a problem. It's a good problem, but it's a problem. Am I worried that some show will come up and steal my wait list? That can happen. I don't know if they're going to bring the value. But we do have a wait list, and I wanted to show a little data on that. I don't want to go back 20 years or even before COVID, but it's very consistent where we have the ratio of exhibitors, then that square foot, and that wait list is right there. And NACS is trending great. We do have different goals for each city, but Atlanta in 23, we broke our all-time attendance record for Atlanta, and we felt super proud. We went to Vegas, which is more attended, broke the Vegas, and of course our all-time NACS show record. And then in Chicago, we did it again. We broke our all-time Chicago record, so more to come in Vegas, but we're on our way with a wait list and everything there. So we're pretty excited about where we're gonna go. In density, you guys can have all your formulas. I mean, this is why we have a wait list. We wanna make sure the value, the ROI, that when we're selling these people, we're not gonna saturate the floor and have a ghost town on the show floor. This is a 20-foot, maybe 30, but I think 20-foot main aisle. It's pretty packed. And when I talk about density, I'm really just talking about energy. The hard stuff is we have conversations with our largest customers, and it's hard to tell Coke, no, you can't grow, and Hershey, you can't grow. I mean, they have new products. They're buying companies. They want to grow. And in some cases, we'll let them grow if they're buying an existing exhibitor and they need this space. But we're really concerned about bringing the value to the buyer. And if you let everybody grow and all of a sudden I go down to 1,000 exhibitors as 1,200, that's 200 people that our buyers are not going to see to find new products and services. So I would say after listening to me, you're like, wow, Bob's got it great. It's easy, got a great job. Not a worry in the world, nothing. I would like to say that, but we all have our challenges. We had a CEO for 20 years, awesome CEO, but he retired at the end of the year. And we got a new guy, Frank. Frank is awesome though. This is being recorded, so I want him to know that it's awesome. Probably be online too. Frank was a past chairman in 2017 and we bonded really well. He's from Ireland. He ran Aramark Europe. He had a force of 20,000 people. He was for profit. So he's throwing challenges at us. And I have to answer them. I can't go, no, I like it my way. But yeah, he's told me bigger floor. He's told me raise your booth price. He's told me get bigger sponsorships, and he's told me to invest more to get buyers, paying buyers at the show. So we're going to make more money when we grow, but happily he said we're going to invest most of it back into the show to bring more people to the show, to bring special experiences. So I'm excited. I don't know, maybe he'll come back and he'll talk to you guys next year, because it won't be me, to see how the year went, but just wanted to share my story with you. So the takeaways, you know, I feel like if you can build trust and you can have great conversations, you're going to drive engagement. And hopefully that's what you're all looking for. Not 3 or 4 days or whatever, how many show days you have, but drive engagement year round. Selling outcomes, that was illustrated by Mondelez. I was selling an outcome and it was a win-win for both of us. And just kind of change the mindset of thinking ROI or value for your customer before a sale. So my one last slide is your challenge, is think of something you could eliminate today that you're selling that's not value. And guys, we all do, right? How many people sell this internet was sponsored by Hershey, or there's a napkin with PepsiCo for a cocktail thing. That stuff drives me nuts, and I don't think it brings value. Instead, don't dismiss the money, but try to create a product that will bring value to your audience. So, thank you.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
We have time for one question. Yes, right there. Go ahead. I'll.
You mentioned restricting your exhibit hall to a certain number, and I'm sure that's probably done with priority points or history or however you do it. But how do you respond to folks that are attending that want to see the newest thing, the newest company that does not have a history?
Did everybody hear the question? How do you bring in new exhibitors if they're on a waiting list?
Yeah, new products and services. First off, we draw 5% of our show only for first-time exhibitors. They get a turnkey 10 by 10, that's all they get. But you're looking at over 200 companies that are always going to be new in the NACS show. When we do sell out of space, people on this wait list do have an opportunity. We have, like probably everybody else, we have a cool new products area that has lead generation reversal, so the supplier gets it and the buyer, but we've expanded that into something we think is cute. It's called Catalyst, and that is a unmanned expo. So you can be on that wait list. I think we look at calling it things you didn't see at NACS, but it gives them priority points. They get priority points if they continue their membership, and they'll get it in the following year. But Catalyst has been great. I mean, it's not the price of a booth, but they're getting real leads. And if they want to come to the show, they still have to buy a registration at a non-exhibiting price, which is kind of expensive. So.
And I believe your first-time exhibitors are always like right by a main entrance?
Right, they're right by the main entrance, and we extend their show by an hour each morning. So we open it up to them before the expo opens by an hour. So.
Come a long way, baby.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you. Good job, good job. Again, he and I, we used to do workers' buttons, worker badges, union staff badges. So look at us now. Well done, Bob.